So the season is officially underway. So we figured what better time to let you guys know what the best player on each NBA team is this year and who you guys need to be watching for if you're just scrolling around through NBA League Pass one night like I was yesterday. It was a lot of fun. I missed the NBA. It's great having League Pass back. It was great seeing all the wild chaos around the NBA. So let's go to our first player. The best player on the Orlando Magic is obviously Aaron Gordon. He was great last night. First game for the Magic was a +9, 28 and 18 for Aaron Gordon. He was great. Primed for a huge year again this year. That three-point shot does need to improve, but as long as Aaron Gordon is going to keep those gears rolling, as long as that jump shot continues to improve, he's going to be a big-time player for the Magic going forward. Let's go to the Atlanta Hawks. It's Taurean Prince for now. It's not John Collins or Trae Young quite yet. Taurean Prince has actually gotten better every single year that he's been in the NBA. Averaged 14 and 5 last year for the Hawks. Pretty good player going forward. He's a nice player that they took a chance on, who has developed quite well. I'm sure that it'll end up being Trae Young or John Collins, but for now, it's Taurean Prince for the Atlanta Hawks. How about De'Aaron Fox for the Sacramento Kings? One of my favorite players in the NBA. Got to take a massive step this year if the Kings want any chance of actually making an impact on the NBA. I don't think it's going to end up happening, but De'Aaron Fox did look quite good last night for the Sacramento Kings in their first game, scored over 20 points in that game for Sacramento. He's going to be a big part of their success going forward. They got to build around him and make sure that he succeeds. Let's go to the Brooklyn Nets. This one is kind of up for discussion. They don't really have a best player, so I went with who I think is the most talented player on the entire team, and that's D'Angelo Russell. Now, he wasn't great last night. Karis LeVert looked amazing last night for the Brooklyn Nets, scoring 27 points on the night, but I still think D'Angelo Russell has the most talent on this team. Big season for him, really a make-or-break year. He's on a contract season, so it's going to show a lot about his dedication to his game and whether or not he can take that next step. Let's go to the New York Knicks. It's kind of obvious, isn't it? Well, it's Alonzo Trier. No, I'm just kidding. It's Kristaps Porzingis. Look, when he comes back from injury, it's going to be interesting to see how he's recovered from that from that knee injury. Achilles is with Cousins. But with Kristaps, knee injuries for guys who are 7 feet tall are way different than knee injuries for guys who are my height of 5'11", 6 foot, and 6'1". Way different. So his return is going to take a lot longer than normal people. Just is. He's a unicorn. You know, the unicorn tore his ACL. It's going to take a while for that unicorn to fully recover. So I'll be interested to see how he looks when he comes back. But let me know in the comment section below. Will the Knicks win a title in the Kristaps Porzingis era? I say maybe if they get Kevin Durant, but probably not still. I mean, it's the Knicks. Who are we kidding? They're never going to win a title. Let's go to our next one here. It's the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker looked fantastic last night for Phoenix. That Igor Koskov coaching style really opened up the floor for the Suns last night. 35 points for Devin Booker along with 7 assists. He was plus 22 on the night in their first game against the Dallas Mavericks. But DeAndre Ayton also looked fantastic. 18 points and 10 rebounds for him on the night. That duo looks like it's going to be absolutely fierce going forward. But Devin Booker needs to prove that he can lead a winning team. That's not a simple thing, people. Being the best player on a really bad team, that's easy. Being the best player on a playoff team, that's way different. All right, let's go to our next one here. The best player on the Cleveland Cavaliers is Kevin Love, which isn't really saying much because this Cleveland Cavaliers team is so unbelievably bad. And by the way, Kevin Love, in his first game as the Cavs' lead dog on offense, he was 5 of 18 from the floor. I know he had 21 points. He was 10 of 14 from the line, but he was also 5 of 18 from the floor. This Cavs team is going to be an absolute disaster this year, people. It's going to be an absolute disaster. Jordan Clarkson had the second most shots on the entire team last night. Stop making Jordan Clarkson a thing. Let's go to the Chicago Bulls. When he eventually comes back, it's Lauri Markkanen. He's without a question the best player on that team. He is so much talent. He really came out of nowhere last year. I did not see that kind of season out of Lauri Markkanen last year, but he was fantastic, showed a real distinct kind of talent of being able to shoot from both inside and outside the paint. Has a good three-point shot as well. I want to see his defense improve in a big way, but until then, his offensive game is enough to keep him on top for the Chicago Bulls. Let's go to the Charlotte Hornets. It's Kemba Walker. By the way, if you're wondering how these teams are ranked with the best player in each team, they're based off our final NBA projected rankings, which, by the way, you guys can catch on the Chat Sports YouTube page. But Kemba Walker was amazing last night for the Charlotte Hornets, and I can't believe they still lost. He dropped 41 points in his first game of the NBA season, but I think his contract situation is going to be a distraction all year long. It's going to be a big issue, keeping him focused with, could be the last season with the team. We know that the Knicks are going to come calling. We know the Lakers might come knocking as well. I think it's going to distract him all year long. But in that first game for Charlotte, he looked absolutely incredible. Let's go to the Grizzlies. Probably the worst team that we had in the NBA yesterday. Only 88 points on the night for the Memphis Grizzlies. Marc Gasol is the best player on that team, but I really do wonder, how much does Marc Gasol really care anymore about this Memphis Grizzlies team? Really, seriously. I mean, he looked like crap in the preseason. He didn't look great last night. It honestly looks like he just kind of wants to trade it to actually try again. So he was pretty bad last night, shot 2-11 from the floor, only had 13 points and 6 rebounds. He was probably their best player, but it's not really saying much when he only scored 83 points. Let's go to the Pistons. Blake Griffin. It's tough deciding between him and Andre Drummond, but I went with Blake Griffin simply due to the respect I have for Blake Griffin and the challenge that he faces this year going to the Detroit Pistons. It's going to be tough for him. First full season in Detroit after spending all of his career, besides half of last year, with the Los Angeles Clippers. Looked great yesterday. Got 26 points on the night, along with 8 rebounds and 6 assists. Drummond looked fantastic, though. 24 points and 20 rebounds on the night. He did go 10-21 from the floor. But I'm going to go with Blake. I still think he is the most upside of any player on that team, but Andre Drummond and him are about even. It's kind of difficult to differentiate between the two at this point. But if you guys think you know more about the NBA than I do, you don't. Go use FanDuel right now. FanDuel.com/chatsports. I'm going to be starting some live games, weekly games against you guys next week. So head to FanDuel.com/chatsports. Put a deposit down. Get $5 free with that first deposit. I'm going to kick all your asses this year. I am. I'm going to kick all your butts. You guys are done. I can't believe that I even have to go compete against some of y'all. It's going to be a massacre. Let's go to our next guy here. It's Tobias Harris, which is hilarious. I can't believe that Tobias Harris is the best player on an NBA team. Who let this happen? Who let Tobias Harris be the best player in the Los Angeles Clippers? This is going to be such a weird year for the Clippers. And if you watched their game last night against the Denver Nuggets, you know how weird of a team this is. So strange. Tobias Harris last night only shot the ball 13 times, even though he's the best player on the team, 19 points. He's going to be such a weird best player on this team. They're not going to be able to get over the hump. Let's go to the Dallas Mavericks. It's DeAndre Jordan. I tried to stay away with first-time players on a team being the best player on the team, but he is the best guy. I mean, he's way better than Harrison Barnes is. I'm not putting Harrison Barnes as the best player on the Mavericks. DeAndre Jordan's still one of the best pick-and-roll centers in the NBA, and I think that as him and Luka Doncic and Dennis Smith Jr.'s chemistry improves, that pick-and-roll is going to be absolutely devastating. We got another double-double last night for the Mavericks because that's just what he does. Let's go to the Miami Heat. It's Goran Dragic. He was the best player on the floor last night for the Miami Heat. He looked fantastic, really was able to get things done. By the way, these players that I'm picking are not based off their performances last night, because obviously not every single team has played. These are just the best player on every single team for this season, and it's obviously Goran Dragic for the Heat. He's the most capable scorer they have. He was 9-14 from the floor last night. 26 points. Watch out, Hassan Whiteside could make a run for this title, though. He had 12 and 18 last night as he tries to reignite. See what I did there? The Miami Heat reignite. It's funny. Tries to reignite his career. Let's go to the Washington Wizards. It's obviously John Wall. It is John Wall. And there are no more excuses. I'm done with this. No more excuses around John Wall. John Wall is one of my favorite players in the NBA. I was a closet Wizards fan for a very long time. But here's the issue. There can't be any more excuses. Every single year, there's another excuse about why this Wizards team isn't good. There is so much talent on this team now. There are no more excuses. None. Zero. If they can't get it done this year and at least make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, they need to start talking about making some changes in Washington because it's been way too long of the same old, same old. Let's go to Minnesota. It is still Karl-Anthony Towns. I know that some people prefer Jimmy Butler, and I know that Karl-Anthony Towns played like garbage last night. He did not look like he wanted to be out there for the Minnesota Timberwolves, but he is still the best player on that team. I want to see if his intensity can increase this year, but it's going to be a really awkward it's going to be awkward for Karl-Anthony Towns until Jimmy Butler leaves. But let me know in the comment section below. You're starting a team right now. This is for this season. Who would you rather build a team around for this season? Give me a K for Cat. Give me a B for Butler. I say Karl-Anthony Towns. I just think Karl-Anthony Towns is a better player. I do. I like Jimmy Butler, but I don't think you can win a title with Jimmy Butler as your best player. But with Karl-Anthony Towns, I think you can. He is such a versatile player down low, and I think he's going to have a fantastic year. First game be gone. He was going up against the San Antonio Spurs, and we know that they kill big men with Pau Gasol and LaMarcus Aldridge. So I'm typing a K for Cat, but let me know in the comment section below if you'd rather have Jimmy Butler. Let's go to the Portland Trail Blazers. Maybe his last year in Portland, it's Damian Lillard, arguably the best point guard in the NBA last year. Lillard was an absolute monster for Portland last year. Ended up making first team All-NBA. Gotta wonder, though, if Portland struggles this year, could the Lakers come calling for Damian Lillard? Can you imagine if they traded Lonzo Ball for Damian Lillard? That would be nuts. Yeah, that's who they would have to move for Damian Lillard. We'll get to that later, though. Let's go to our next guy here. It's LaMarcus Aldridge for the San Antonio Spurs. Now, I got a question from Landon Bond about this before he went up, asking, is LaMarcus Aldridge the best player in the Spurs? I'm going to put him there until DeMar DeRozan proves otherwise. I think that LaMarcus Aldridge deserves to have the leg up just because he's been on the team for more years and DeRozan's only played one game for the team. But LaMarcus Aldridge is a fantastic player in his own right. He made big-time strides in Pop's system last year, made second team All-NBA, was great last night for San Antonio, ended up being second on the team in scoring, 21 and 19 on the night. I just think Aldridge going forward is going to be their rock. DeRozan's a good player, but Aldridge is going to be the guy that gets them where they need to go. How about Anthony Davis? Obviously Anthony Davis is the best player on the Pelicans. If they don't have Anthony Davis, they're done. They're game over, man, if the Pelicans don't have Anthony Davis. Don't be surprised if those trade rumors continue to swirl. But, man, if they keep scoring 131 points to beat a Houston Rockets team, they're going to be just fine. Let's go to the Indiana Pacers. It's Victor Oladipo. Took everybody by surprise last year, including me. Let's see if he'll be able to duplicate it this year. Had a nice game to start his season last night. 16 points, 6 of 11 shooting on the night for him. 5 rebounds and 5 assists. Solid player. Very good player in Victor Oladipo. I think overall, I don't know if he's going to have another all-star level season. I think the rest of the Pacers team is going to get better around him this year. But overall, he's the best player on that team. He makes them tick. How about Nikola Jokic for the Denver Nuggets? They looked great last night against the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers were hanging around there, and then all of a sudden the fourth quarter came around, and the Denver Nuggets just ran away from them. 21 points on the night last night for Jokic. He's fantastic. He's the best passing big man in the NBA. He's going to put up some big-time numbers this year with Paul Millsap officially healthy. Can't wait to see what that Denver team does. Let's go to the Thunder. It's Russell Westbrook. Now, he didn't play 2 nights ago against the Golden State Warriors, but that's not a worry. Russell Westbrook, still one of the best players in the NBA, has played at least 80 games the last 3 years, but that injury history in his knees is starting to get concerning. 4 knee surgeries for Russell Westbrook the last 2 seasons. Getting a little bit shaky down there. How about Giannis for the Bucks? Didn't make any threes last night, but the Bucks did get the win in his first game with Mike Budenholzer. He's going to do wonders for Giannis. I think that team is going places. I think they're better than the 76ers, but that's a conversation for another day. Let's go to the Lakers. Do I even need to say who the best player in the Lakers is? It's obviously LeBron. Though I want to point out one interesting thing. Played 82 games for the first time in his career last year. I wonder how many games he'll play this year. I wonder if he'll take a little bit of a step back. Let's go to the most disappointing team in the NBA this season, or going to be. It's the Philadelphia 76ers. Watch out, guys. Joel Embiid's the best player on this team. I just want to point out one thing. Doesn't the Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons pairing just feel like something that's going to deteriorate over time? Doesn't it just feel like something that's going to fall apart and just consistently get smacked in the face by the Boston Celtics for the next 4 years? Just feels like it's going to come to a crashing, huge blow-up ending, and Ben Simmons is going to leave LeBron style and, go reignite the Seattle Supersonics or something. Who knows? But I have a bad feeling about this 76ers team. Joel Embiid said it right. The Sixers and Celtics, it is not a rivalry. The 76ers got to get their stuff together, especially when they go up against the better teams in the NBA. But I'm basically the Boston Celtics of NBA FanDuel. So if you guys really think that you're going to beat me and you think you're the Warriors of FanDuel, which you're not, you can head to FanDuel.com/chatsports. You get $5 free with your first deposit. I'm going to be doing some NBA games on FanDuel this season. So be sure to wait on my tweets. Follow me on Twitter @SportsDean, and I'll send you guys that link when my games officially begin. Again, head to FanDuel.com/chatsports. Let's get to our last couple players here for the Utah Jazz. It's Rudy Gobert. I know that some people will want me to put Donovan Mitchell on this list. on this for the Utah Jazz. Totally understand. But it's Rudy Gobert. He makes that team go. This is a defense-first basketball team. So the best player on that team is the best defensive player on that team, who also just happened to be the best defensive player in the NBA last year. Rudy Gobert is a fantastic NBA player. It sucks that he has to play in 2018 and can't shoot threes, but he was great last year for the Jazz, and he was great last night as well. I think the Utah Jazz are going places this year. Let's go to our next player here. It's Kawhi Leonard for the Toronto Raptors. He looked fantastic. He really did. He looked explosive. He looked motivated. This Toronto Raptors team is going to be very, very good if Kawhi Leonard is able to keep his head on straight. He is the best player on this team by a significant margin when he's fully healthy, and I think we saw that last night. Let's go to the Houston Rockets. I don't know if this team is going to be any good this year, especially because they just got whacked against the Pelicans. I know you shouldn't make any gross overstatements about the NBA, but they got whacked at home against the Pelicans, the team that they had their way with last season. So a little bit concerning. James Harden didn't look fantastic, but it took him a little bit of time last year to get going as well. No big worries for the Houston Rockets going forward. James Harden, MVP last season, going to have another fantastic year for the Houston Rockets. Are we sure it's Kyrie Irving for the Celtics? I put a question mark next to his name because I'm not really sure. Let me know in the comment section below who the best player on the Celtics team is. Are we sure? Are we really sure that Jason Tatum isn't already the best player on this team? Are we sure? There are very few players in the NBA who have his combination of length, scoring, and defense. I love Kyrie. I think he's one of the 10 best players in basketball right now. But are we really sure that by the end of the year, Jason Tatum isn't going to be the best player on this team? I don't know. We'll see. Let me know in the comment section below who you guys think the best player on the Celtics is. And finally, the best player on the Golden State Warriors. It is not Kevin Durant. It is always Steph Curry. It has been Steph Curry. It will always be Steph Curry, and it is Steph Curry right now. Nobody in the NBA impacts their team's win total more than Steph Curry. When he plays, the Warriors' win percentage with him on the court is 82%. 82%. The number one number in the NBA by over 10%. He is the best player for the best team. Steph Curry could put up another huge season this year for the Golden State Warriors. Don't be surprised if Steph Curry actually ends up a little bit more in the MVP conversation this year than he did last year. Obviously, the injuries kind of took some wind out of his sail. But you guys that watch NBA Now here live on Chad Sports, be sure to check out the Lakers report later today as we take you guys through the top news and rumors from across Los Angeles. We'll take you guys through that later at at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Pacific Time for those out there on the West Coast.